2018 Suzuki Baleno Hatchback Review. The good points of Suzuki Baleno Hatchback: great construction, good to operate a vehicle, practical, well equipped. The bad points of Suzuki Baleno Hatchback: pre-production cars driven, pricing to become confirmed, some cheaper cabin plastics. This may be the Suzuki Baleno review, written some half a year before the car keeps going sale in spring 2016. We were invited to Spain to utilize some pre-production cars and form a primary evaluation. As you can see from star rating, we came away impressed, both which consists of cabin design and in what way it drives. Third small car in Suzuki's range. It's a competitor to the Honda Jazz and Nissan Note, cars that have a small footprint, roughly Ford Fiesta-sized, but maximize their interior and luggage space with clever packaging. They're grown-up vehicles for just a grown-up crowd, which works some way to explaining why Suzuki will almost certainly sell it alongside the similarly sized Swift hatchback, along with the smaller Celerio city car, which appeal to younger audiences. The Baleno represents a far more premium offering too, and although pricing and equipment levels haven't been guaranteed yet, we've got the lining line from Suzuki for the likely kit available. It tends to make interesting watching, which has a 7-inch touchscreen sat-nav and reversing camera even in the base specification. No word yet on the trim levels are going to be called, either, but examine the equipment portion of this review with the lowdown of what we know until now. Hard-wearing cabin. It's not perfect, though. The cabin does feature some cheaper feeling plastics that appear of lesser quality than some rivals. The flipside point is because feel incredibly hard-wearing, so they're more likely to stand the exam of time, even though they're not the last word in aesthetic grandeur. We were impressed together with the engine lineup too, through an all-new 1-liter Boosterjet turbocharged engine joining a 60-minute .2 inside-out petrol lineup. You've got manual or automatic gearboxes too. Plus, in typical Suzuki fashion, they're all decent to operate a vehicle. Practical, big boot for Baleno. While the handling feels built more for comfort than fun, these taken care of through the Swift instead. Another highlight could be the interior space being offered. 4 adults will conveniently fit, plus the 355-liter boot is probably the biggest available for this sort of car. Until we've got full precise pricing information, we cannot comment around the Suzuki Baleno's affordable against its rivals, but using a list price expected around the £12,000 mark, it would appear a strong entrant inside sector. Watch on for just a full evaluation in this brand new car. 2 engines. Manual and auto gearboxes. Engaging performance. There's a trio of petrol powertrains to be had here, and although the Suzuki Baleno's performance figures haven't been confirmed yet, we came away impressed overall with all the way the engines and gearboxes drive. The 1-liter Boosterjet engine. This is our pick in the engines. It's an all-new 3-cylinder turbocharged unit that develops 100 bhp and 170 Nm between 2,000 and 3,500 revolutions per minute. We don't have performance figures with the Baleno at this time, but our tester made approximately guess of any 0.62 mph sprint in around 10.5 seconds. That isn't the surprising bit with this engine, though. It's the actual way it makes its power that impresses most. The turbocharger wakes up incredibly quickly, providing extra torque at 1,500 revolutions per minute and ramping up seriously quickly to its maximum 500 revolutions per minute later. This makes for the very exciting drive, plus the boost continues frantically to your peak power output at 5,500 revolutions per minute. Choice of gearboxes with Boosterjet. Your gearbox choice is about the 1-liter certainly, or a 5-speed manual, or maybe a 6-speed automatic, and both certainly get their merits. The former produces an engaging enough drive, though using the engine's revvy nature we'd have preferred a shorter throw relating to the gears along with a nicer quality of gear knob. We actually preferred the automatic around the cars we drove, given it made the engine feel more responsive and perceived to marry together with the car better. It's also far better to push than the CVT sort of gearbox in most rival cars, for example the Honda Jazz, but there's a problem to pay regarding efficiency and running costs. It's worth noting how the cars we drove were very early pre-production models, over a few months before the true UK launch date in the car, and Suzuki's engineers claim there may be more refinement ahead. The 1.2 Dualjet SHVS engine. Slightly less performance is being offered along with lower running costs in the event you pick the 1.2-liter engine. Its SHVS system may be the most notable thing here, which in essence is a stop-start system featuring an additional battery to restart the engine. This drives CO2 output down, rendering it the choice for people who value the lowest possible tax bills. It goes without a turbocharger, which suggests on initial prod, the throttle is quicker to respond as opposed to Boosterjet, but it's nowhere close to as exciting. The 5-speed gearbox mentioned above could be the very same unit, and subject for the very same ongoing development. No automatic is accessible at this time. More comfortable than sporty. Easy to maneuver. Automatic handles best. Traditionally it is something Suzuki has excelled at, plus the Baleno does handle well. Sporty drives are better enjoyed inside the similarly sized Swift, though, with ride comfort higher about the agenda due to this car. With that plan there's decent suspension travel, so inevitably some lean inside the corners, but it's not the end in the world in this way. We actually applauded its absorption of bumps and holes inside the road, finding only larger obstacles thumping their way from the cabin. The steering isn't the ultimate word in feedback, but it's precise and weighted well due to the target audience, offering easy parking thanks to a tiny turning circle and good visibility. We suspect more work is going to be done here too, but initial evaluation bodes well. Interestingly, we found cars equipped using the automatic gearbox and Boosterjet engine being the pick with the bunch in this way, presumably because with the extra weight in the self-shifting gearbox. This could easily change before we drive the automobile on UK roads, though. Modern standard touchscreen sat-nav is successful. LCD screen on dash displays information clearly. High driving position means good visibility. Overall there's a grown-up feel for the cabin, with tough yet soft touch materials covering many on the surfaces. Some from the plastics aren't what you'd call stylish or modern, but we don't think customers buying this kind of car will mind, or indeed notice. They're more likely to applaud its resilient nature. The dash is of the conventional layout using the rev counter within the left and speedo about the right, flanking a slick LCD screen which often can clearly display several parameters, for instance trip computer information as well as the G-force experienced. Impressive infotainment system. We particularly liked the typical 7-inch touchscreen sat-nav and infotainment system taking pride of place high up within the center console. It's an easy task to watch and responds well to touch inputs. We found the power to use smartphone commands like pinching and swiping an intuitive interface too. Tall driving position. It feels as though you're sat superb up, meaning good visibility, as the seats can be supportive. We found the apparatus lever in manual cars lower than satisfactory with regard to shape and quality, nevertheless the rest in the controls feel welled out. Automatic gearbox-equipped Balenos get paddle shifters behind the tire, that allows some manual operation, and also the gear lever can be a fairly conventional linear affair, though we found ourselves slotting the vehicle into a manual mode when setting off given it sits directly below the D position, meaning sometimes you end up picking it in error, especially when you're in a big hurry. Great seats. All passenger seat. The recipe is really a good one: supple suspension, supportive seats along with a refined cabin combined. To be sure, Suzuki Baleno comfort is amongst the best in its class. We were particularly happy with all the lack of road, wind and engine noise at low speeds, the Boosterjet petrol making the best of it on account of its easy-going nature below 2000 revolutions per minute. We found the passenger seat to sit down relatively high compared for the drivers, even at its lowest setting. Trim levels not confirmed yet. We getting sideline from Suzuki. 2 trim levels, both well equipped. Since we drove this type of early version from the Baleno, Suzuki remains to be undecided on specific equipment levels for your UK market. With having said that, we've spoken for the people accountable for such decisions and may give you a guide, if anything. We're expecting 2 trim levels. We don't determine what they'll be called yet, but strongly suspect they'll mirror the actual SZ lineup featured inside firms' other cars such as Vitara. We do understand that it'll become a well-equipped car to stock up against its market price when compared to direct rivals such as Honda Jazz. Standard Suzuki Baleno equipment. On offer even on the entry-level trim will likely be the 7-inch touchscreen multimedia system, including Bluetooth connectivity in addition to SatNav plus a reversing camera. You also can expect manual air conditioning and 16-inch alloy wheels. Top-spec Suzuki Baleno accessories. The top trim is predicted to add all the more luxury, with features like automatic aircon and heated seats available. Optional extras. Suzuki isn't noted for going mad with options, and extras in many cases are limited to dealer-fit items including roof boxes or bicycle carriers. You will have the selection of 9 body colors, including 2 special metallic finishes. Know your own cap crash test score. Decent number of standard safety kit. More situated on higher trim. It's simply too early to get a Euro NCAP crash testing result at this time, even so the initial signs are which the Baleno will do well thanks to a substantial structure and competitive safety equipment in comparison with rivals. There's a decent quantity of standard kit, with additional set to become available on high-spec cars. All Balenos get 6 airbags, stability control as well as a body shell that has been designed to work during impacts both for some other vehicles with pedestrians. Bluetooth connectivity for that multimedia system and also a reversing camera is likewise part in the base spec lineup. Top spec cars read more safety kit. Top-of-the-range cars go for radar brake support RBS, which uses radar to detect vehicles directly in front. It can then tell your vehicle to do among 3 things: alert the driving force of an impending collision, increase braking force if the automobile detects having a, and lastly automatically applies the brakes to stop your vehicle. The radar system also enables an adaptive cruise control program, which we tested for the motorway and located smooth as well as simple to use together with the controls within the steering wheel. Boot among class leaders. High loading lip. Excellent rear headroom. While it doesn't have some from the features that make its rivals a real compellingly pragmatic decision, such as Honda Jazz's Magic Seats and the Nissan Note's sliding rear bench. Again we came away impressed with all the Suzuki Baleno's practicality. The 355-liter boot makes its load space one with the biggest in this particular class of car, though we thought the loading lip looked high enough for making heavy bags an effort to fit. Rear seat passengers are going to be pleased using the amount of headspace and legroom to be had. This is usually a car that's easily sufficient for 4 adults to go in comfort.